right, it is 7 o'clock on Wednesday, August 13th. I will open the Ottawa City Planning Commission meeting and we'll have the roll call.
Member Strathnick. Member King.
Here.
Member Maxwell.
Here.
Member Harris.
Here.
Chair Lanta.
Here.
Vice Chair Crowley.
Absent. Okay, on the next item, number 3, is the consent agenda, and it's for June 26, 2025, and it's the meeting minutes. Are there any additions or corrections?
I do make a motion to approve this agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Lots of seconds.
Yeah.
All,
third, take a pick. Fourth.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, moving on to number 4, declaration. At this time, I would like to ask the Planning Commission members to make a declaration of any conflict of interest or any ex parte or outside communication that might influence their ability to hear all sides on any item on the agenda. Number 5, public comments. Persons who wish to address the City Planning Commission regarding items on the agenda may do so as that agenda item is called. Comments on personnel matters and matters pending in court or with outside tribunals are not permitted. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Any public comment entered via chat, online chat, will not be recognized or commented upon. Any presentation is for informational purposes only. The Planning Commission will take comments under advisement. Number 6, public hearings. Okay, we're going to have a public hearing on the Capital Improvement Program, commonly known as the CIP. Director Landis, I'll open the meeting and you're up.
Thank you. So for the record, you've opened the public hearing for the Capital Improvement Program. This is a part of the process in our review. Early in April, the City Commission heard the first draft of the Capital Improvement Program for 2026 through 2030. And then it was brought to you as a Planning Commission, and you've reviewed it twice at 2 of your meetings prior to now, and then are holding the public hearing, in which we don't have anyone present in the room for, but for informational purposes, we'll still run through a quick presentation on what's included in the CIP. And then after this public hearing, then you would be asked to find the Capital Improvement Program in conformance with the comprehensive plan, and then it would be returned back to the City Commission for their approval on September 3rd, which is also the same night as the budget public hearing and adoption as well. So it's all part of a really lengthy process for capital improvement planning, but a very important process, so that we've engaged a lot of different parties in both putting it together and reviewing and approving it. As a reminder, it's a 5-year program. Everything that's within the document is our best estimate of when these projects could occur timeline wise and what they could cost as a projection, and then a funding mechanism that we might propose for each one of them. However, because it is just a plan, anything can change or move at any time, depending on if new funds become available that were unanticipated, or if funds become unavailable that were anticipated. And so any of these projects can move years. Now, what is normally consistent is the projects that are planned for the 2026 year. Generally, if those have a budget impact, they've been included in the budget document that will also go to the City Commission. So typically those are pretty much in line with what we plan to have happen. Everything else is a moving target. The CIP process was put together. All of the capital projects were put together by your city staff, and there was an request for the public to participate and submit a couple of their ideas as to capital projects that they'd like to see done. All of that has been included in the process of putting this together. And then, of course, we're at the public hearing, which is the final phase here. In our project categories, we have a variety of capital projects that fall within a variety of project categories. All of them you've seen within the PowerPoints and within the report that's been distributed. The draft report is also on the website. for our goal tonight, which is for you to determine if you find this CIP in conformance with the comprehensive plan. I'd like to just briefly, instead of running through every single project in detail, just review these. And if you'd like more detail about any one of them, we can certainly talk about that. But to review with you how these are consistent or generally consistent or unaddressed in your comprehensive plan. So we have the reconstruction of the taxiway, which is consistent with the airport master plan. There are improvements to the auditorium, which are unaddressed in the comprehensive plan. Building maintenance and golf, all of those being unaddressed in the comprehensive plan. The electric utility has the Northeast substation reliability and capacity improvements, which are generally consistent with the goal of infrastructure improvements in the city and the growth areas. And the same would be true for the system conversion from 2400 to 7200, the river crossing circuits from of 8 and 10 structure rebuilds. And then we have under the electric utility, we have traffic light replacements at 15th and Main and then 17th and Main. And those two are consistent with the Main Street Lights project with the downtown goals. In particular, the objective is to promote a vibrant Main Street. Under our Parks division, we have the Aquatic Center, which is consistent with your public health goal, which promotes land use policies and activities that provide benefits to physical and mental health of the community. Our police department has range improvements, which are unaddressed in your comprehensive plan as they're just improvements to an existing facility. Under our sidewalk projects, we have the Princeton Circle, which is 17th to 21st Terrace sidewalk. This is consistent with the goal for bicycle and pedestrian facilities. It promotes the development and use of infrastructure that allows non-motorized travel across the community. And then under our special streets or our street projects, we have the reconstruction of Cedar Street and the reconstruction of Main and 23rd South. And these are both generally consistent with the goal of infrastructure, which is street capacity and access and economic development. Under our stormwater category, we have the levee study system, and that is consistent with our environmental sustainability and our flood mitigation and then our infrastructure goals. Under the water utility, we have 5 water line replacement projects. These are consistent with our infrastructure and business climate goals, which support infrastructure improvements in the city and the growth areas. And then under our wastewater utility specifically, we have PLC and SCADA upgrades, as well as replacement of the Pin Oak pump station. And those are consistent with infrastructure and business climate goals, which support infrastructure improvements in the city and the growth areas. That was a really brief rundown. All of those are the projects that are included in the capital improvement program in any one of the years of 2026 through 2030. There is included within that CIP a future project listing. It is a fairly lengthy listing and it's intended to be a communication device for everyone to know that there are projects that are on our radar. They are target projects, but we have yet to identify either a cost for that project because it has not been studied or engineered, and we don't have a good cost to associate, or there has not been a funding mechanism identified quite yet for that project. So I would encourage anyone to take a look at that future listing as well if you're wondering what else might be coming to the city over a longer period of time. With that, I would stand for any questions.
Are there any questions for a couple of, she very well may not be able to answer them. On the Princeton Circle sidewalk, is there a preliminary plan for what that actually is?
This item is the preliminary planning for that sidewalk. It has not yet determined exactly where it will be and exactly what the cost of that would be. So the item that's in the CIP is the study for that.
Okay.
The engineered study.
Okay.
And we had identified that this was a project that needed to be done several years ago, but there weren't funds available to do the project at that time. It's within a TIF district. And so waiting until those funds accumulated and then determining how that sidewalk could get accomplished. There are some challenges with the layout in that area. And so that is the part that really needs to be designed and studied before we can really move ahead with the project.
That's why I was asking. I live down there and I'm very familiar with the challenges they're going to have. And I'm like, okay, how are they going to do it?
Yes. And we absolutely know that it needs to be done. Now, the question, as you said, is how does it get done?
Yeah. The only other question I had is on the levee system study. How much of the levee system is the city responsible for versus the Corps of Engineers?
I could venture a comment on that, but actually City Manager Silcott has an extensive understanding of the levee system and specifically this past study. Would you be willing to comment?
Yes, we are responsible for the dike levee and support structures that are within essentially our municipal boundaries and the core footprint. To that end, we have access points that water on the outside of the levee flows to, and then we pump that from those points up and over the levee and into the Maridazine for eventual passage out of our city limits and downstream. And when we're studying that, it's you can see those pump houses and you think that's it, but there's also tow drains and subsurface structures beneath that also require study. And the condition and design specifications for our levee is very similar to the Kansas City, Kansas and Kansas City, Missouri, Fairfax drainage basin and the dikes that are located there. And so we're undertaking a similar process, but obviously on a much smaller scale. And we had qualified for 100% funding, and then with the funding stream that we were using was removed. And when that occurred, we now are in the process of trying to come up with matching funds to be able to begin the study, because you'll have the preliminary study. This will be done in two parts. And now we have two applications. We're paying 50%, where originally the entire cost of that study was paid for by the Corps. And then after the study phase, we get into the design and engineering, and that's where things start to ramp up. And again, we'll be looking to get federal assistance for that, and also congressional support for additional funding. And we are now active in an organization called MOARC, which is the Missouri River Association of all of the tributaries that flow into the Missouri that eventually goes into the Mississippi. And so this also helps us with some potential funding streams and some professional assistance to that end, because the study phase, then the design phase, and then we have the construction phase, and that's also where it gets very, very expensive. So we're expecting this could be a 15 to 20 year process. And so we're trying to maintain the existing stormwater system that we have while not increasing the flow and the velocity of the flow to what we determined to be our biggest weakness in the system, which is the pumps and the tow drains that are subsurface that we can't see. And it's so occluded from collapse that we can't even get television cameras down to inspect it. So we understand that it's something that we need to address, but it's the engineering alone would probably exceed our annual operating budget of the city,
Without a doubt.
because it's so complex.
Well, reason I ask is I knew the city was responsible for the mowing and the stormwater structures and the floodgates, but I didn't know, I was under the false impression that the Corps of Engineers was responsible for a certain amount of that maintenance, but that's not correct, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
We're responsible for that within our within our jurisdiction. Now, their staff, both our local field staff and the larger regional areas, and both, depending upon what we're needing them for, whether it's the El Dorado office or the Kansas City office, are all wonderful to work with. And we hope to be able to strengthen those relationships as we go forward in trying to mitigate the potential design deficiency from causing actual issues in the city. Thank you.
Just the first time you tackled this, since the levee's been built.
I couldn't tell you. I
So
know
it'd be-
it is needed. Our well houses and pump and electrical systems are essentially original to the install in I can't remember if it's 64 or 67.
I want to say that I think the levee system was probably completed in the 64 area. You
Pretty,
took,
that's pretty close.
because I know they started 57, 58.
Well, they started the lobbying in 57.
So
So, yeah, and so then you had.
The only re-
Productions.
the only reason I know that is because I know some of the old timers that worked on it.
No, I think it's great. I mean, last thing we want to do is see another flood downtown. Or the intersection of, that Kia Cook and Logan, or whatever that street is there by Casey's.
You know,
That was an interesting one, because I was in Casey's and that's, they're flooded,
you know,
so.
There have been significant improvements made to that storm
Oh, yeah.
system around that area.
Well, at that point in time, they had like 3 feet of water in the bottom of Smoke Creations.
well, here's the thing on that, guys. We can't do anything about some of the events that have been going on around this country in the last 3 or 4 years, 9 to 12 inches of rain in less than 24 hours. It's gonna flood. But we can't, there's just, I mean, there's no contingency for that. It's just, well, the same thing's gonna happen to us. It's happened to a lot of other communities. So anything else?
Any other questions relating conformance with the comprehensive plan?
Okay, well, in that
Thank you.
case, thank you,
Thank you.
ma'am, and we will close the public hearing. All right, discussion. Hearing none, it looks like our recommended action is motion to find the 2026 to 2030 capital improvement program, commonly called the CIP, in conformity with the Ottawa Comprehensive Plan.
Make a motion to find the 2026 to 2030 capital improvement plan, CFP, in conformity with the Ottawa Comprehensive Plan.
Second.
There's a second on that. All right, would you call the roll, please?
Member Harris,
Yes.
Vice Chair Crowley. Member Stresnick. Member Maxwell,
Yes.
Member King,
Yes.
and Chair Lanta.
Yes. Thank you all. Item number 7, staff comments. Mr. Manager, would you like to make?
I was just going to say that I know we're in a period of transition with staff in the department currently, but I think tomorrow I will have a meeting with the consultants who will be working with us to kind of lead us through both an assessment of our internal processes to make sure that we align with our software and we're maximizing the efficiency to minimize any potential miscommunications or inefficiencies with our systems not jiving with the software. And then also to get our comp plan across the goal line and determine and do some stakeholder interviews for assessing our current development process and how we might be able to refine that in a way that balances our fiduciary obligation to the citizens and future property owners with that of the development community here today. And I look forward to reporting to both you and the city commission on kind of the plan ahead as we start to approach this undertaking. And so we're really wanting to provide a good skeletal framework that the community can grow into as growth, evolves out this way And as that happens, I can tell you, having been leading and managing the fastest growing city as a percentage of population in the state at one time, that it'll happen faster than you think it will. So once it happens, it'll happen fast. And so it's important that we're prepared when that eventuality occurs. And I know we're looking forward to serving you, and I appreciate the time that you dedicate and give to our community and trying to leave our little corner of the world better than we found it when we arrived. So leave it, transmit it to the next generation to do the same, kind of take things from good to great.
The only thing I will ask you is if your consulting firm that you're working with says they develop the city of Lawrence and Douglas counties plans, please don't use them.
I don't think we have to worry.
Okay.
Would agree.
That's what a mess up there. Anyway, okay, enough of that. Ashley, do you have anything for us today? All right. Commissioner comments? Now's your chance. Got the city manager here. You have his ear. Now's the chance.
Him and I hashed our deal out earlier, so we're
Okay.
good.
All right. Well, if there's nothing there, announcements, the next planning commission meeting at noon will be August 28th, 2025. And the next evening meeting will be September 10th, 2025. Now, do we have anything scheduled for either one of those yet? Any public hearings or anything, Ashley? Okay. At noon. Okay. So please, everybody, attempt to make it so we have a quorum so we don't have to put them off.
Can you tell us what that public hearing is at this point?
Yeah, it's going to get published to the paper, next Wednesday. So, it'll be for a preliminary plat review.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Last call. All right. Do we have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Done. Thank you.